everybody, what's up? Okay, take 2. Smithsonian Institution National Museum of Natural History Global Volcanism Program. They have something out for the 20th anniversary of the Smithsonian, the USGS Weekly Volcanic Activity Report. So it says, we're just going to read through it really quick, just see what they have to say. There's a lot of information, and we'll skim over that, but the first week of November 2020 marks 20 years since the first weekly volcanic activity report went public. It is a big milestone and worth celebrating. And what a better way to do that than with summaries of notable eruptions. My name is Sally Sinner. I work for the USGS and have been writing the WVAR for more than 14 years while embedded with GVP. I wanted to share with you how and why the WVAR got started, how it has evolved through time, and finally my top 50 picks of notable eruptions that have occurred in the past 2 decades. The weekly Volcanic Activity Report is a summary of global volcanic activity posted every Wednesday. It is a collaborative effort between the Smithsonian's Global Volcanism Program and the USGS Volcano Hazards Program. It was conceived in the late 1990s by Marianne Gufanti, the former USGS Volcano Hazards Program Coordinator, and James Lure, the former GVP Director, excuse me if I've mispronounced your name, to meet increasing expectations on both agencies to provide the public with more timely information about volcanic eruptions. USGS employee Gary Mayberry arrived at the Smithsonian in the summer of 2000 and produced the first public WVAR in collaboration with GVP staff, which covered 1 to 7 November 2000. I succeeded Gary in May 2006 and remained the WVAR writer. For the entire 20 years, N. Van Zyk has provided crucial editorial reviews and helped to ensure both accuracy and a consistent style. Rarely have I received a star and no edits, which we both find humorous. Each week, I virtually tour the world in search of information about volcanic eruptions. The world's volcano observatories are the first and most important stop, as they are the primary and most authoritative source of eruption data. Additional sources include the Volcanic Ash Advisory Centers, the VAACS's, meteorological agencies, civil protection, and emergency management agencies, local governments, official blogs, social media platforms, and news agencies. I draw upon all the resources I can find to write the most comprehensive and accurate summary possible within the time constraints, as eruptions and communication about them are handled differently around the world. I check and cross-check information and draw upon my years of experience in volcanology and knowledge of the volcanoes on which I am reporting. I have a duty to not misinterpret reports, to archive crucial observations, and to always present accurate volcanic activity information. Aside from knowing where to get accurate information, a harder task than may be obvious, gathering and archiving the data, each week I have the monumental task of distilling down hundreds of pages of information into 1 or 2 dozen succinct summaries. One crucial skill in this process is to translate the translations, as most of the source data is not in English and the online translators are far from perfect. I can say with a large amount of confidence that I am quite good at this. It is a skill that should not be underestimated. And an official report about San Cristobal, how would you interpret in either reports that monkeypox activity recorded during this weekend? Some translations are just hysterical. The main crater was obstructed by a cone of pyroclasts of proportions that on the brink of madness surpassed in height the elevated top more of the volcano. Madness, I tell you. The most notable changes in eruption reporting involved with the prevalence of cell phone usage and their ability to produce quality video, the widespread use of social media, and more recently the increase in personal drone usage for taking photos and video. Social media is, of course, the vehicle for sharing observations and data for both official entities and the public. These advances help me to curate a more thorough and detailed picture of an eruptive event, though data tends to be scattered across many platforms and delivered in many languages. While reflecting on the past 14 years of my experience writing the WVAR and looking forward back through Gary's reports, several eruptions stand out for a variety of reasons. Some eruptions were surprises and large, with almost no precursory events. Some were at remote volcanoes, not officially part of any observatory's charge, so information was hard to find. My sleuthing abilities were tested as I had to not only find often fragmented information, but then make sense of it all based on my volcanological training. Some stand out because they were deadly. As I put this list together, I also thought about the many other volcanoes that I have included in a WVAR, and that did not make this list of notables. Those that have impacted residents and caused loss of life and property. Those that have led to advances in the field of volcanology, and those that have just been fun to write about. Many volcanoes feel like old friends as I have examined and written about their activity for years. All of them continue to draw me into the world of volcanoes and volcanology. They show me how the people of the world are impacted by eruptions and that there is much work still to be done. They remind me of the brave and compassionate people who work hard to minimize loss of life and property from eruptions. I'm grateful to be a part of the world of volcanoes. So that was a nice little piece. Sally Sennert. So Sally Sennert, she's the voice behind the WVAR. Okay. So let's see. There's the names and the locations, and this is the full list of those names, locations. There's got the Tall, Cinnabung, Marapi, St. Helens, Kilauea is up there number 1, 2000. So, let's start educating myself on this a little bit more, and I thought I'd share the experience with whoever wants to join. Okay, so let's go to the frequent questions. So what volcanoes have the most people living nearby? What volcanoes have had the longest eruptions? How many active volcanoes are there? Has volcanic activity been increasing? What was erupting in the year, whatever year? What is a volcano? What is the world's highest volcano? How do scientists forecast eruptions? What volcanoes are the most noteworthy? Why doesn't GVP post alert levels? What Holocene volcanoes are in areas with the UNESCO classification? Let's start there. So the United States Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, seeks to encourage the identification, protection, and preservation of culture and natural heritage around the world considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. There are 204 Holocene volcanoes included, wholly or in part, within World Heritage Sites, biosphere reservoirs, or reserves, or global geoparks. Yeah, I mess up a lot, guys. I'm sorry. Some may fall within more than one area or have multiple classifications, but each volcano is only listed once below. This list was prepared by Smithsonian GVP staff based on public information and is neither endorsed by nor an official compilation of UNESCO. Please contact GVP to report any content that might be incorrect. Okay. So the UNESCO, that's the property name in the third column there. The volcano is listed over here, and then their country, and then they classification that UNESCO has given them. The Azores. Big list there. See there in Portugal, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 spots there in the Azores. Global Geopark, Agua de Pau, Corvo, Guanajuato, De Castro Bank, Fayal, Flores, Furnace, Gracias, Picos Volcanic System, San Jorge. I'd like to go to a site and see if I can get them to read the name to me so I can learn the name and be able to say it without everybody going, ah, she said that wrong. Okay, so wait, I'm tripping. Okay, give me. Alright, so there's the report, bulletin of the Global Volcanism Network. Let's see, database. So the Holocene volcano list, Pleistocene volcano list, volcano search, eruption search, deformation search, emission search. Let's go to the emission. So Volcanoes of the World is a database describing the physical characteristics of volcanoes and their eruptions. This search returns volcanic emission activity data sorted by date. As of February 2017, all emission data has been provided by Simon Karn using NASA's SO2 data, captured using satellite-based instruments. Let me show you something. Before we do, now you know that emissions is definitely going to affect the air now. Let's go. Where's the map? There we are. Now, I am not acclimated yet with reading this, so I really can't talk about it. I hope to be in a better position, be able to explain it and talk about what we're looking at. I do know that this is the PM10. We can do the ozone, the PM 2.5. What is the PM 2.5? I don't necessarily know. Let's take a look at something over. There's nothing over here. I wonder why. Okay. What if I put in Etna? See, all that is in the U.S. So let's do. So that's just the U.S. This I do know about a little bit, and there's a reason why I did this, because I want you to see that you cannot see on these monitors. You can't see anything outside of the U.S. So, of course, these areas over here, because of the fires that are going on currently, along the coast, there's still fires going on over there. And then they claim to be doing a lot of deforestation in a couple of other areas, but yeah. Good Lord. Now, I use a couple of these sites, but I'm going to use this one. It gives us, the world basically. And this area, So on Volcano Discovery, you can get an interactive map of the volcanoes, and you'll see it off to the side. I think everybody's page should be the same, but this is the volcano activity. You can click on it for the summaries, because in the middle you can get the news and updates, you know, for the earthquakes and whatnot. But okay, so volcano activity worldwide, and in this map, these are the active volcanoes. What's active, what's... So right here is Etna. There in Stromboli. That's active because it's red. And all these areas are active. It's along the Ring of Fire. I think we'll see an increase of these from here out. There were some operations, coal mining and oil operations out along this region. That's just a guess. Okay, so Etna's right here. Let's go to the air pollution. And let's take a look. Let's try to... I'm geographically challenged, so I need to just above that ridge. Right here. So we'd be along in here, I guess. And you can see the air quality is horrible all through this whole region. I mean, this is the bottom. Down here, it tells us what that is. Hazardous, very unhealthy. Via Dante Alighieri. 6 minutes ago, 150, unhealthy. Tazlansky, BKC, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, 195, unhealthy. Unhealthy. Very unhealthy. And we can see this spans, you know, quite a bit of territory there. And there's an ever-growing, decreasing amount of air in there. Now, mind you, there's deforestation taking place all over the place, so that goes into the atmosphere as well. Now we can go back. Let's put in emission activity search. Now see, I don't know how this works. I'm captured using satellite-based instruments. Okay, so we did that here. Global sulfur dioxide monitoring homepage. So we can look at this. This is what was going on in 1980. This took me back to something in my childhood. Okay, so I'll just shut that down. Take up all the... Now they've got the up here volcanoes marked. They've got oil and gas, power, smelter, and volcano. So power is the red. Those are the power plants. Smelter is green. There's a couple places. Canada. No, I don't know what smelter is. A volcano is the brown. We see that all down in here. And then we have oil and gas. So the power plants, look at this. What's strange about that is that kind of looks like the map that encrypted grid has. It's very similar. I wonder if I have that map handy. Look at that map. Let's see. Let's go back. What are the odds? Let's see. It's similar, and I actually have a note talking about I have most of the main ones gridded, so I should put the rest of them in there, because I know it ain't gonna do nothing but match up even more. I'm sorry, guys. But, okay. So we got out here. And we got out there. Right there. And we got something here on the coast. Keeps clicking on something. Right in here. I got something posted right in there, so not sure what that is. We got a couple locations. These are definitely, I don't know that the northern one by the Canada borders in this one, but I know it's on there. Yeah, this small 10, line item 10, and then got this whole cluster here, and it's funny because that encrypted grid talks about the energy sector. What are the odds? How cool. So, got all these locations, and how interesting that we could go in here and got line item 11, Sustainable Energy Initiative. And there's also the Solar Energy International. Got solid electrolyte interface, which is some energy storage. Sustainable Energy Institute. We even got the pipeline. Sinopec Engineering Incorporation. That. And isn't it interesting that map also kind of matches where all this bad air is? I mean, that's exactly what's going on here, isn't it? Let's put this side by side. Doesn't really come up here. Like, they don't even show that there. I bet it's horrible air coming out of there. But we've even got right here in the islands bad air. Bad air. Iceland's moderate. See that? Okay. So, I mean, a little odd, right? These are the currently erupting volcanoes. Let's see if we can select options. Let's just put in satellite, method, country. Let's just check all of them. Volcanoes. Let's search the emission activity. So I need to really learn what these things mean, but so they gave us 360 matches. Start date March 30th, 2016. End date March 30th, 2016. And there's 4. It's got SO2 mass. Let's just bring this in. And SO2 altitude 6.8. So they've definitely got enough data, it looks like, to begin to find out what would the, an average amount of pollution that's put out into the air, the emissions from all of these volcanoes put together, and then put into our air. What would our air quality be like? And, is there a reason to be concerned? And if so, what level of concern has been raised? Now, I do know that over in OSHA has an earthquake preparedness and response earthquake disaster assistance team. That's the EDAT, that's the USGS. So PAGER stands for Prompt Assessment of Global Earthquakes for Response. It's an automated system that takes in seismic data. They also have FEMA training, earthquake disaster response and recovery, earthquake risk, earthquake emergency response plan. That's Zurich Insurance planning guide. So there's community response teams as well. And then ready.gov, they've got something listed there. Let's see what Google says about who you should call. It says 911 or a public health department. That gives us, what the steps are, but we have planning guide, this community response teams. This gives you a basic understanding on, you've got resources for further information, community preparedness unit, disaster preparedness division, Los Angeles City Fire Department, neighborhood emergency response team training, San Francisco Fire Department, Sunnyvale Neighborhood Preparedness Program, Department of Public Safety. Okay, well, that's almost to be expected because they've had a few really deadly events. So we have this data, and of course this is a lot of data, so I suggest if you'd like to get some more on it too, which I do, and I want to go into them, but I need to learn a little bit more about the SO2 mass and the SO2 altitude. So we'll do a little bit of study on that tomorrow. The current activity is Etna, Abeco, Permisher Island. That was eruption. Extended southwest reported. So they know what way it's going because of the wind. And actually, this is even provable through windy webcams because they have a system here that you go to it and you can look at the wind. Like, where's the clouds going to be? This is the wind. You're under massive surveillance. I mean, you can go anywhere really in the U.S. and you can look. You can get on beach cams and stuff like that too. But you can get into any area, going to St. Louis here, and you can see these are everywhere. You can see there's cameras. You can go to different websites too and find them. But the whole point why I came here was to just say, you see where the flow of the air. This is the way the wind is oscillating. So, like a southwest oscillation, a northwest oscillation. An oscillation too can be used for multiple segments of the market. Wrong East Java. So there was explosive activity that was continuing 4,300 meters. Halmahera, Indonesia, Ibu. VA reported to FL070 at 25-22314Z. So I don't know these either. So Papacatapo, Pacaya, Fuego, Sangue, Reventador, Zapacana. They're in Peru. So I know Shima. And then get back going around. And Etna. Now Etna has various webcams, and so do the others. You can watch some real-time ones on YouTube. There's various channels. People are constantly sending the feeds through, so definitely support those feeds and just stop in. If you want to know what your weather's like, or heck, spy on the grocery store down the street, you pretty much can do it. I started a message for hosts from Mighty Networks. You want to miss this? Alright, I started a page, Persecution Rises, and I just decided that what I wanted to do was try to combine all my platforms and to have a platform of my own. Plus I'm censored everywhere I go, and so I just thought I could be a better use and a lot more productive and organized with all the material by creating an area for a community just to get, latest news and whatever. I could have probably started this forever ago, but with everything what's been going on, it's like I don't know when what will happen. So instead of just being across multiple platforms, I figured I can put myself in a stationary spot and maybe be a little bit more effective and maybe able to help someone out along the way. Who knows? But it can